So I am putting myself mute right now. Okay.
Sure.
And you tell me when I'm supposed to put it on.
Yes.
Okay.
We are live now.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Indian National Young Academy of Sciences, INYAS, is a unique and first of its kind Young Academy of India. Since its inception in 2015, INYAS has always been a trailblazer and trendsetter in many of the scientific outreach endeavors. Here we are today with one such remarkable event on the eve of the International Women's Day for the release of We the Scientists, a compendium of women in INYAS, fondly called as INYAS. May I now call upon Dr. Nishima Bangu to welcome the gathering.
Thank you so much, Nishad. Distinguished guests of honor, Professor Rohini Goldbolle from IISc Bengaluru and Professor Ram Ramaswamy from IIT Delhi, Chairperson INYAS Dr. Rajendra Dhaka, former Chair INYAS Dr. Chandrasekhar Sharma, and my dear colleagues from INYAS. A very, very warm welcome to all of you on the eve of International Women's Day. Encouraging women's active participation in science and scientific outreach has been one of the major initiatives of INYAS. And in this pursuit, we have gathered here for the release of the much awaited INYAS Compendium, We the Scientists, which is a collection of the highlights of the achievements, challenges, and opportunities of our women in INYAS. This compendium will take you through the journey of the women scientists from INYAS, serving as role models for the young girls who wish to take up STEM as their career. This is a step towards our efforts for a better and a more balanced world where women scientists are given their due recognition. We do hope that our efforts to compile this scientific journey of these 30-odd scientists into one book will give you a glance into their lives, and by reading it, our fellow females across the nation will be encouraged to pursue their passion of making STEM as their career. We are indeed honored and we are very thankful to both Professor Rohini Goldbolle and Professor Ramaswamy for taking out time from their busy schedules to release this compendium. In fact, in addition to this, we also have a workshop for the registered participants focusing on potential strategies for addressing gender bias in academia, a focus on Indian context by Professor Mangala Subramaniam from Purdue University, and it starts at 6 p.m. today. Now, I once again welcome everyone to this release of We the Scientists Compendium. And with these words, I request Nishad to please take the proceedings further. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Nishima, for your kind words of welcome. May I now call upon Dr. Rajendra Dhaka, Chair INYAS, to present the INYAS activities for women in science. Unmute.
Thank you, Nishad. Thank you for nicely starting our program. And on behalf of INYAS, I welcome Professor Rohini Goldbolle and Professor Ramaswamy for joining us on this very important event. I will be highlighting in next 5 minutes the special efforts taken by INYAS for gender inclusiveness, which we are committed for in INYAS. And let me start by our new flagship event, the one we are going to start soon, and we are preparing for this, the event called Wisdom, Women in Scientific Domain, where we are focusing on 4 different areas. One of them is white paper, where we are planning for white paper in this direction. Also, we are planning to focus on undergraduate and postgraduate students for inspiring them by having pitches by INYAS members, questions and answers. We also trying to focus on early career researchers for inspirational journey of renowned speakers, career counseling, problems related to women in STEM. The last one in this program is the focus on school children and their teachers to motivate them to take up science as career. And this will be also conducted by INYAS members telling their stories of female scientists like the first Indian doctor and so on. we already started Women in Science program called WISE. It was started by Dr. Nisima from Punjab University, where the 9th talk was given by Professor Rohini Goldbolle, who is also joined us for this program on diversity in science and role that individuals, institutes, and society can play. We have also conducted a program. Let me go to the next one. Yeah, so the next program was conducted on 21st of July 2021, where the focus was be the hero of your own story. Also, we conducted the 11th seminar on My Journey by Challenges by Professor Jasvinder Kaur. And also we invited Dr. Diksha Gupta from ACS India for her talk on way forward by choice or by chance. We also had events and talks by Professor Pratibha Joli, Professor Asutosh Sharma, and Professor Rajkumar in this direction. Dr. Ritu Gupta at IIT Jodhpur also conducted a visit to institute by school girl students. And we also conducted few more events. Let me proudly say that in INYAS, particularly at core committee, we have more than 50% representation from our INYAS members. In INYAS as whole, we have more than 30% INYAS members. And we conducted quite a few programs focusing mainly for women in science. With this, today I'm happy to have this release of Women Compendium from INYAS. And also, as Nisima said, we are going to have this workshop soon after this program. So with this, I welcome all of you and congratulate all INYAS members on this special eve of International Women's Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rajendra, and thank you so much for highlighting that INYAS and inclusivity are synonymous. In fact, the fact that we have more than 50% representation of women in the core committee speaks volumes about INYAS. Now, may I call upon Dr. Neha Sardana to give a short brief about the compendium.
Thank you, Nishad, for giving me this opportunity to introduce the compendium. So it is my great pleasure to introduce INYAS's first compendium of women scientists that we have named as We the Scientist. It depicts and showcases the different aspects of womanhood. We are scientists, we are mothers, we are social workers, we are teachers, we are caregivers, and much more. We have been a part of INYAS for the last 7 years. And among the 102 current members of INYAS and 43 alumni members, INYAS has almost 28% of women. Out of these 41 women, there are around 34 women in the compendium, and 7 out of them have been named for the 75 under 50. So in this current compendium, it is being written by the women, and it comes straight from the heart from the INYAS members. So we have tried to make it much more readable to a general audience. So it covers all the genres of science, although it is broadly classified into biosciences, physical sciences, chemical sciences, and engineering sciences. So if you want to see younger generation of scientists and their research, this is the compendium for you. If you want to relate to their role models, why they chose STEM as a career and major challenges faced, or if you are looking for some direct from the heart advice from the young budding scientists, this is the go-to book. We at INYAS have been brainstorming about various methods, how we can have various young scientists and how we can encourage the young girls and women towards science and to take up careers in STEM. So we came up with various methods, what Dr. Rajendra has already showcased. One among them was coming up with stories and a compendium that everybody can relate to. The gender gap in STEM has to be eliminated to encourage young children to pursue any career of their choice by finding role models and pioneers in each and every domain. So if you ask a 6-year-old, वो कहेंगे हमें actor बनना है. Why is it so? Because they have so many role models. Why can't we have the same for scientists? So when you want to find someone that has a similar background and has gone through difficulties that you are currently facing, you will be inspired by them, and you'll also try to walk in their footsteps or even go ahead of them. The compendium offers many such inspirational stories. One such story is of Dr. Upasana Ray, and she works in understanding the virus SARS-CoV-2 while taking care of a newborn baby. Neeti Kumar from CDRI has been working on Omicron detection kits, which is the need of the hour. Among the women mentioned in this compendium, we have people like Dr. Alpna Nagpal and Dr. Pooja Devi, who have been awarded the Haryana Yuva Vigyan Ratan Award, and many more for such outreach activities that all of us at INYAS encourage young kids to take up science as a profession. The compendium also gives certain suggestions to policymakers what all can be done to bridge the gender gap in STEM. If you look at the current compendium, we would like to aim and we want to impact young girls and women to find the role models who are near them and accessible for guidance, be it in the rural or the urban areas. Hence, this compendium has contact details, both official as well as the social media sites of all the INYAS members. You can contact them if you are willing to know more about this person, or you want them to come and talk to you or listen to you. We look forward not just to add people from INYAS, but we look forward to add more women from all over the scientist community in India and abroad, from academic institutions, from research institutions, as well as from industry in the time to come. Once more, we at INYAS are very proud to bring to you the very first, We the Scientists, with a promise that many more will follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Neha, for taking us through the highlights of the compendium. In fact, you have brought out what was the need and why this compendium at all got placed in the first. Thank you so much. So we have arrived at the moment of the evening. We have with us this evening two illustrious personalities who have been instrumental in bringing out the very first compendium of Indian women in science, the Leelavati's daughters, through the Indian Academy of Sciences. In a true sense, they are the pioneers. May I now request Professor Rohini Goldbolle and Professor Ram Ramaswamy to do the honors of releasing the compendium in both the e-version form as well as in the hard copy form.
I'm not sure how you want us to do this, Nishad, but I have the hard copy here in front of me.
Yes, you can really open it, sir.
All right, and here it is.
And ma'am, you can start this. Yes. So we have simultaneous release in both e-version as well as the hard copy form.
Okay, so here is your hard copy.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes.
Go.
I think Rohini ma'am is muted. She is saying something.
Yeah.
Achha.
Professor Goldbolle, probably you have to unmute yourself.
Ma'am, you can put.
Sorry, I had forgotten that.
Slideshow mode in the bottom.
Yeah, that is what I'm trying to get at. That's what I want to do, slideshow.
Yeah, the first one.
It's at the
Okay, from
bottom
start,
right corner.
and here it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So here is the cover page.
Yes, excellent.
Here is the second inside page, which has all the names of the editorial team here.
Mhm.
And that's it. We have released both the e-copy, and I think there are these wonderful quotes. So I must say that I was very, very pleased to see the poem by Mardekar in this. I don't know, I didn't realize that you have picked up from all different languages, which is fantastic. Truly depicting Indian diversity. So I think let's all clap.
Thank you for your kind words, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
So
you.
I'm stopping sharing. of
Sure,
my
sure.
screen now.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for both the e-release as well as the hard copy release.
Yeah.
Now, Professor Rohini Goldbolle needs no introduction, but it's my pleasant duty to introduce to this audience, is an Indian physicist and academic specializing in elementary particle physics. She did her BSc Chemistry from University of Pune and MSc Chemistry from IIT Mumbai and PhD from State University of New York at Stony Brook. Apart from her work in academics, Professor Goldbolle is also a much sought-after communicator of science, often delivering talks to young students, scholars, and scientists on everything physics. She has several awards to her credit, to name a few: the Honorary Doctorate of IIT Kanpur, Padma Shri for her contributions in science and technology, and SB Medal of INSA. And she is also an avid supporter of women pursuing careers in science and technology. And she has also readily accepted to write a foreword to this compendium, which you would be seeing in this. So now may I now request Professor Goldbolle to address the gathering, please.
So Doctors Rajesh, Chandra, Nishima, Nishad, with whom I have had interactions, and all the others, and my friend Ram Ramaswamy, along with all the other attendees. I think Ram will agree with me that this is absolutely a pleasure to see the next steps in the, to the compendium that we brought out many years ago. And I can sort of share with you the reasons why we thought of bringing out that compendium. And this is a story which sort of goes back to an invitation I received, at least on my part, an invitation I received to go and give a talk in International Union of Pure and Applied Physics organized first international conference on women in science. And then people asked me, can you tell about what is it like to be a physicist in India? So this was a international audience. And there I found, actually this IUPAP means that every country has 4 representatives. So they had people from Ghana, Malaysia, Mauritius, Egypt, China, Japan, everywhere. And of course, whole of Europe and everything. And at that time, I found that women from Egypt, women from Ghana, Mauritius, all the nearby countries, kind of came to me. There were 8 or 9 talks. And after I spoke, they came and said, when these Western women spoke, we thought they are doing this, which is great, but they live in a different world. But when we saw you doing this and talking about what you did, we felt if she can do it, we can do it too. And I think that is the purpose of any of these compendia. And in my mind, so I am that was our reason for going, taking up Leelavati's Daughters. And I guess the fact that it appeared finally in Kaun Banega Crorepati as the last but question means that it actually somewhere touched the lines. And I think you guys are doing now, taking it to the next step. Because in Leelavati's Daughters, we talked about people who grew up in times which are alien to most of you. And India has changed. So the social conditions, the scientific and educational scene, everything has changed. The economic scene has changed. So I think while there is a place still for the compendium that Leelavati's Daughters is, I think there was, of course, always a need of stories from younger people who are really working in today's India and who want to go forward, and they can relate much with people closer to them age much better. So I think with all this, the compendium like what you have brought out was actually, really a need of the time. In fact, I can tell you a small story that I don't know whether you're aware, but Nandita Jairaj, and I forget the name of her co-author, Ashima Dogra. So they brought out this wonderful book of containing stories of 31 young women scientists. And I liked the book very much. So I gave it to the daughter of a couple. Both are students from IISc. He was a student in physics and she was a student in Center for Ecological Sciences. And both of them are faculty in IISc. So this little girl, 6 years old, came to me and, started asking me, why is my mother not there? So you see, that is the impact that, things like that, what you are bringing out is going to have, because it's going to relate to younger people. And that's absolutely fantastic. I am really pleased that you guys have taken this step. I'm also even more pleased that you have really very well organized programs about discussing the issues. And I think these are really very, very welcome steps. And I must say that I am absolutely delighted. I was delighted to take a look at the compendium, which I received an e-copy some time back. And it was a pleasure to write the foreword to it, because I believe that the whole point is about not just about what problems you have and how do you overcome them. That is, of course, I have seen in the compendium as well as in Lilavati's daughters. The story is, what is the joy you get out of science? It's not just, that you are successful, you become a member of this and member of that. And the stories convey that joy. And I think it is the joy of doing science that I'm compliment to all the compendium contributors, that many of them have brought out the joy of doing science. And I believe that time has come now for us in India to take more steps where we try to raise the awareness among the academics, among the institutions, that this is not something we are doing only for women. We are not doing this as a charity for women. We are not doing this only to encourage poor women who must be allowed to flourish, but we are doing this for science. Because every extra woman that comes into science, you are using a little bit more of our intellectual potential. We are getting a little bit more back for the investment we make in training these women into science. And I think apart from this very nice program that you're holding about encouraging women and giving them, sort of direction as to how one can become leader and so on and so forth, at some point we need to also take steps to activities which will create this awareness in everybody that this is having more women in science is good, of course, for the women, but it's also good for science. So I think once again, I would like to, end this here by congratulating you guys, but maybe, I have one small complaint which I want to make, but you already corrected. You already mentioned that you're going to correct that. The point that I was going to make is two issues. One is that I really found that in physics, engineering, and mathematics, right now the representation in the INYAS itself and in the compendium is rather small. Whereas I do know that there are women, young women like you, who are working in these areas and who are very successful. So I would like to urge INYAS to see that one can remove that inequity as well, because otherwise it gives an impression as though there are no women in this quote unquote tougher subjects. But we know that that's not the case. And secondly, I was very glad to see when you said that you are going to try to reach out to not just the people who are members of INYAS, but expand the scope. Because I think you could begin by starting with young associates of academies. Of all the 3 academies have young scientists, young associates, even if they're not members of INYAS. Because being a member of a select group depends on many different factors. Whether you come back to India at the right time, whether you apply, whether somebody advises you to apply, and all kinds of things. So try, you have plans, and I hope that your plans to become even more inclusive become very successful. I wish you all the very luck and all the very best. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, ma'am, for your encouraging and motivating words. And thank you also for taking us through the journey of inception of Lilavati's daughter. That was truly nice to hear that, your interaction with people from other countries made you come up with this Lilavati's daughter. And I'm sure we will take your advice, especially the joy of doing science and also having more inclusiveness with respect to tougher subjects and try to give our best. Thank you so very much. We also have with us Professor Ram Ramaswamy, who is presently at IIT Delhi as a visiting professor in the Department of Chemistry after his retirement as professor from JNU. He did his BSc Chemistry from Loyola College, Chennai, and MSc Chemistry from IIT Kanpur, and PhD from Princeton University. He was Vice President of INSA as well as Indian Academy of Sciences, and he has also served as President of the Indian Academy of Sciences, Bangalore during 2016-18. And as I mentioned earlier, he, along with Professor Goldbolle, were the editors of Lilavati's Daughters, which were the path setters or trendsetters for us to follow. May I now request Dr. Ram Ramaswamy to address the gathering.
Thank you very much, Nishad. And
hello, Professor Ramaswamy. Good evening.
Oh,
You have a friend here.
Oh, no, not so young, a fellow of INYAS. All right. Well, hello, everybody. And thank you for asking me to speak. Although by asking Rohini to speak before me, she has said everything that has to be said on this particular topic. But actually, I mean that quite seriously. She has given you a flavor of why we did what we did. And so let me not go over those parts of it. What I want to say is something a little different. It's nice to see that 15 years after Lilavati, or 14, 15 years, doesn't matter, that there is a new compendium. It's very important, and Rohini has outlined all the reasons why it is very important. Providing role models is an ongoing task because the youth of India are changing every day. The kids that we were trying to address in the year 2008 did not have Insta accounts, or various things that you all are now familiar because your children are that age. One fact which is a little distressing for all of us is that in 20 years, in real numbers, very little has changed. The overall number of people may have gone up, but the proportion has, in fact, probably gone down in various parts. So one thing that I would like all of you, and I know that Nishad, you, along with the other office bearers of INYAS and all those who have been involved in this, have done it, but don't stop. In many, many organizations, I have seen that once a few steps are taken, people assume that the problem is now over and nothing more needs to be done. And I really would urge all of you to remember that this is a long and uphill battle, trying to get a fair representation for women in science, in increasing the number of women studying science is not going to be an issue. There already are 50%. making sure that you have something like 50% faculty members is going to be a huge, huge task. And it's not just in tough subjects like physics, even in not tough subjects that you think about, getting that number is going to be difficult. What I've noticed, and this is unfortunate characteristic, I mean, it's so difficult to get anywhere that once you have achieved it, you think, you've done it all. And here I would like all of you to take example from Rohini. I mean this quite sincerely. Rohini has achieved as much as many people without gender, I mean, many careers put together. But she hasn't stopped going, and she hasn't stopped being a champion for causes. This is extremely important because more often than not, I have noticed that women of some achievement imagine that with their having achieved it, the problem is now solved. We don't need to do anything anymore. This is simply not true. For every one of you who is successful, there are 10 of your colleagues, 10 women. I'm just saying a number 10, but there are 10 who did not succeed. And it is something that we owe all our colleagues to make sure that we keep this struggle alive. Okay, so I think that it's extremely important that you all should do this, and you all should continue to do this. I'm not saying bring out a compendium every year, that's going to be boring, but try to figure out ways of doing something, the outreach activities. Maybe, you start podcasts, maybe you start, ways of reaching other people. And this brings me to my one little gripe, because Rohini alerted you all to one important fact, and that is to make sure that the representation in the various branches of science in INYAS is good. I would like to also, point out that our country is very diverse. And the representation of different parts of our country in INYAS is low. And the representation of different social groups is also low. And I think that there is no point running away from it. Ours is a very heterogeneous society, and what is true for a person coming from Tamil Nadu, regardless of religion or cultural group or what have you, is not the same for somebody coming from Assam. So please do give some thought to not a question of fair or unfair, but if you want to talk about the country, Indian, you got the word Indian in your title. So if it is an Indian National Young Academy of Science, there should be somebody from all parts of the country. There should be as many social groups represented as possible, in addition to scientific facts, etc., etc. This is not always easy. In Leelavati, for example, we did not manage to do the amount of diversity, but when we produced it, then we realized its lack of diversity. And these are important factors if you want to reach out. So please think in terms of having outreach facility, outreach activities, which will address some of these issues. The final bit of outreach, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I forget now, when Anindita was chairing INYAS, I had invited you all when I was the president of the Indian Academy of Sciences, and we had a meeting in Mysore. There was a meeting of INYAS in Mysore also. And then several of you got together and produced an issue of Resonance. Go back and look at your archives. It's there somewhere that you all did something like this. I think this is extremely important, but you cannot do it just once. Keep doing it again, because unless and until you raise awareness throughout the country of the existence of the INYAS, existence of efforts of yours, these will always fall a little short. However, this is a superb book. And now what I really do need is that each one of the people over here should have a little bit on YouTube, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that. Put it out every so often. Bring it to the knowledge of people on Facebook, on Insta, on all the media that people use these days. And you will see that, the efforts that you all are making will really go places. With that, let me wish you all the very best. Thank you all for doing this, and all power to you for keeping at it. Okay, with all the best. Yeah.
Thank you so very much, sir, for your encouraging words, and thanks for being there always for us. You have always really accepted our invitation, so thank you so much. And I would like to tell you here, sir, that INYAS has always been conscious about being inclusive. In fact, as I said, 50% of the core committee has women representation, and we have also ensured that we have members from practically the remotest part of the country. As we were mentioning, from all over our country. Again, the reason is to reach out to these people.
Absolutely.
So I think so thank you so much for pointing it out also. And I'm sure whoever is listening to us today will remember your advice of don't stop, because it is indeed a continuous process for getting fair representation of not only women, of all diverse groups. So we will continue this endeavor of ours and be a champion for this cause.
In fact, I was going to comment very positively on the fact that there are representation people in the compendium contains people from Kashmir, for example, and quite often, very often in many of our, Kashmir, then Northeast, these things get left out. And as Ram has correctly said, we have really, in Leelavatis, we were really not representative. We lacked.
I'm happy to note that we have a local chapter.
I had noticed it and I wanted to comment on it. That was
we have local chapter from Northeast. We have almost 6 or 7 members from Northeast in our current membership.
Keep at it. As I told you, best is to keep the balance right now correct.
Yes.
And later on, changing the tilt, it becomes more difficult. Absolutely. Keep it even-handed right now.
In the immortal words of Munna Bhai, lage raho.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so very much for those encouraging words. Now we move on to the vote of thanks. May I now request Dr. Chandrasekhar Sharma, the former chair of INYAS, to do this pleasant duty.
Thank you, Nishad. So first of all, I wish a very happy International Women's Day, which is of course tomorrow, to all my INYAS colleagues and all those who have joined us on YouTube for the ceremony. It's indeed a pleasure to propose the vote of thanks for this program. First and foremost, I would like to thank all INYAS members who came forward and gave some wonderful suggestions to celebrate International Women's Day 2022. We have then chosen some ideas, and I am happy that we are able to execute them successfully in time. One of the ideas was to prepare this compendium, aiming to share their own journeys and inspire the younger generation to pursue their career in science despite all the odds. So congratulations to all INYAS members for sharing your own experiences in the form of this compendium. I especially thank Nishma, Neha, Nishad, Kiran, and Kalpana to take the lead role in preparing this compendium in time. I also acknowledge the support from some of our students and staff, Meghna, Omkar, Ruxana, and Tulika, for designing, proofreading, and giving it a final touch. I would like to thank Professor Rohini Goldbolle and Professor Ramaswamy, not only for writing the forewords, but also attending today's release ceremony and giving so many suggestions, valuable suggestions to INYAS in general, despite their busy schedule. Your words of encouragement mean a lot to all of us. I also thank Professor Chandrima Saha for her message to this compendium. Although she could not join us today due to some last-minute engagement in her institute, she is always there to support and encourage us. I thank Dr. Rajendra Thaka for his support to this effort and thank INYAS office for all the logistic support. Last but not the least, I must say thank to one and all who joined today's program, either directly on Zoom platform or through the YouTube. Thank you once again to everyone.
Thank you one and all. And now for the picture, I would request whoever has a copy of We the Scientists to just pose it for a picture. I think Madhvi will be taking a picture.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Oh, you have your Lilavati's daughter.
I'm going to hold Lilavati since I don't have the copy of me.
Very good, excellent. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye and all the best to everyone.
Thank you.
And bye-bye. Thanks, everybody, and
Bye, ma'am.
congratulations once again. And good luck.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
Okay,
much.
Professor
for
Ramaswamy,
joining.
hi.
Bye, Professor Pathak. Bye, Deepak. Bye, Rajat.
Actually, when you were talking of the Northeast, I was remembering Sikkim University. There was a person who tried to go to INYAS, but just now I talked to her. She said she did not get it, but I think I will ask her to apply again.
Sure.
She was
That's
Sikkim
right.
University. And
Sure,
her name is Archana Tiwari, and she's doing, now she has shifted to BHU, but that time she was in Sikkim University.
Madhvi, we can stop the live streaming now.
Hello?
Yes, sir. We would definitely look into this. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, bye, everybody.
Bye,
Bye.
sir. Bye,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, ma'am. Bye, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So I think the core team, the editorial team should pat our backs for this successful event. So hope the next program also would be successful like this. So we are
Madhvi,
well in time.
First
Well
event
in time.
Well in time, Nishad, well in time.
Madhvi, we have stopped the live streaming, I hope.